It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR, presented by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection. Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com is also brought to you by Bank West, Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Todd's Electric, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Shane's Pharmacy, Missouri River Dentistry, CHS River Plains, Edward Jones Financial, Ferding Electric, First Dakota National Bank, Gales Gas, and Lamb Motors. And now, your host for Coach's Corner, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you here inside the KCCR studios on this Wednesday night. Another edition of Coach's Corner. John Winkler with you as we will talk with Coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals, as well as also talk with Ben Caven, the head coach of the Pierre girls wrestling team, and Micah Miller, the head coach of the Pierre gymnastics team, as they continue to get set and get ready for the final stretch run of the season. That's all coming up on tonight's show, as we've got a good one for you with just a couple more weeks left to go before the end of our season. It's hard to believe that. We're closing in on the final potential five Coaches' Corners left before the end of our season and getting into the 2026 year, 2026-27 year before we come back in the fall. But that's still coming up. We've still got plenty of shows before then. We've got a good one here coming up tonight, and let's get back and let's get to talking with head coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals after this here on Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 30 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agriculture. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. That number again is 223-2518. Todd's Electric Service, serving the Pierre Fort Pierre area. Todd's Electric Service, the line to power. It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota in Pierre is proud to sponsor today's game. Whether you're in the market for a brand new Ford, Lincoln, or Toyota, or a quality pre-owned vehicle, our team is here to get you back on the road in style. From tough trucks to family SUVs, we've got the selection you need and the hometown service you deserve. Browse online anytime at CapitalCityFordToyota.com. Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, where community drives us forward.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Join me as Coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals. A big, busy weekend coming up, all at home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, taking on Huron, Brandon Valley, and then Sioux Falls West this coming weekend. Coach, it's good talking to you again. Let's go back this last weekend. Talk quickly about the Brookings game, a tough loss, the overall takeaway from that game against Brookings.
Yeah, the overall takeaway is that we kind of have to take a step back and just kind of, almost in a way, humble ourselves in the fact that we've played really well against the teams that we should beat, and we just haven't quite played the hockey that we're capable of doing when we play against some more of our top teams in the state. And, we kind of saw that on Saturday, and it kind of reflected. And, that's a good thing. I mean, you can live and you can learn and kind of move on from that, but you can get a lot of takeaways from it. And some of the big pointers would be, it's a pretty obvious stat to look at. 11 shots on net in a hockey game just isn't quite ideal of what we are capable of doing. But, it doesn't mean that there wasn't some important pieces to be able to take away from that game. And kind of talked a little bit more about kind of the positioning that our kids need to continue to work for. And sometimes we use the saying of work smarter, not harder sometimes. And unfortunately, I think we worked a little too hard on some of the wrong positions against the Brookings game. And, that's where you see that score turn into a 7-0 hockey game.
Yeah, and we mentioned too the being able to kind of humble yourself a little bit but move into this weekend, and two very winnable games to start the weekend off with teams that you've already beaten once so far. The Huron All-Stars will be in town Friday, Brandon Valley coming in town on Saturday, and being able to like I said, humble yourself, but also know the confidence is there going into this weekend, and to get right back to work and get right back in the win column.
Yeah, absolutely. We showed up Monday, and our mission is trying to find a way to get more pucks to the net and trying to give ourselves more opportunities to score, because you're not going to win games with 0 goals, and it's going to be really hard to win games with 1 goal. And so that's kind of been the big focus point so far this week, trying to attack the net versus kind of just set up stuff. The more that we kind of evaluated on some things, and even just early on in practice at the beginning of the week, was that we're kind of taking ourselves out of the play to try to look for the perfect play, and that's not always the case of what we need. Sometimes it's better to just be able to force some things and just get the puck to the net more often, and good things will happen from there.
Yeah, the one thing, because I was mentioning that in the broadcast on Saturday, the last couple of games for the Capitals, not as many shots on goal, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily to say the whole thing. It doesn't say that you're not getting opportunities. Obviously you had 2 goals on 5 shots against Yankton in the first period in that loss the Saturday before, which,
Yep.
Again, not a lot of shots on goal, but very good opportunities to score, and it's not just, shooting from the blue line just to rack up shots on goal. The quality of chances still need to be there. So while the shots on goal haven't been quite, as high as you would like them, you're still looking to get those quality chances, and not just saying, well, we don't have any shots on goal, let's just shoot from the blue line. You're not looking at something like that. You're still trying to work on getting good shots.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say a good goal would be 75% quality shots, but 25% of them still need to be that force deal. We talk with our kids all the time, how often are you guys perfect? Every one of them says never. And that's the thing that they have to kind of keep in the back of their head, is that the guys they're playing against, they're not perfect either. And so if you can at least put the pressure on them and force them to have to make a mistake, it will happen. And so that's where we've kind of really changed that focus point to just drive to the net, find the lanes going to the middle of the ice, versus the more times than not, we've been pulling ourselves to the corner or pulling ourselves to the wall and just kind of leading ourselves into a kind of a failure spot more often than not.
And talk with Coach Landon Badger here of the Hawaii Capitals. You come into this weekend, a 3-game weekend, which, making the state tournament, you got to play 3. If you want to win a state championship, you have to get 3 wins in 3 days. The other side of playing a 3-game weekend is that you're probably not facing a team that's also playing a 3-game weekend. Sioux Falls West will play on Saturday. Brandon Valley doesn't play on a Friday before coming to – oh, no, they do play on Friday, so both teams will have played a game going into Saturday. But there is that, extra little bit of, maybe a team has a little bit of a more rest coming into that game. But for you guys, how do you handle a 3-game weekend, especially right now, right – a little more than the midway point of the season? How do you handle that 3-game weekend to make sure guys stay fresh throughout this weekend?
Yeah, the message last night was that the preparation starts today, and that's on Monday and Tuesday. It's not when it comes to Friday night after the first game. If you are preparing to be able to go to battle and be at your best for 3 straight days, you have to start taking care of your body at an earlier point. And so that was kind of the focus point early on. And obviously, you noted it. You want to win a state championship, you've got to play 3 straight days, and that's kind of the gift of what we have here. I mean, you truly look at it, and if you're trying to compete for a championship, your first round game is probably the game that you should control. Your next game becomes the if game and whether or not you want to make a championship, and you've got to compete while having not 100% legs. And then you come to Sunday and you're playing against the other best team in the state. Well, I mean, truthfully, if I look at it for this weekend, our first two competitors are more teams that we have a good chance on competing against at a high level. You come to Sunday, and that would be just like the design of playing your championship game. That'd be probably what I'd say is the best team out of the three that we play this weekend. And so it's a good kind of early on test for us for the state tournament, and kind of allow us to see where we're at, not even as much just compete-wise, but just honestly conditioning-wise to be able to make it to that third day and be as competitive as we could from that.
I like how you put that too, because I was on the other side about to ask you, boy, you're facing your toughest team of the three by the standings rates and by wins and all that stuff, that you're facing them last. Wouldn't it be nice to start the weekend off? But I like the approach of that. If you're wanting to win a state championship, the toughest of the three will be on Sunday. And of course, Sioux Falls West is at 7-3 right now, where Huron's 2-10, 1-1, and Brandon Valley is at 1-8. And 1 on the season, 8-2 on the season. Excuse me, with those two overtime losses. With the 2 overtime losses. But it is, like you said too, that it's going to be a challenge to be able to face all three teams, but a fun one, especially because you're at home, and this is, you're going to double your home games just this weekend because you've barely been at home at any point this regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're on what we kind of always call the long stretch, but at the same time, this might be the best thing that could happen to us, because you look at it, and out of our last, 10 or 11 games, 95% of them are at home. And so to be able to have that opportunity, to be able to have that home ice advantage can really push us in the right direction. And we always preach about that you're playing for one weekend in March, but more importantly, you're just trying to play the best hockey you can possibly play by the time that March comes around is more the preparation that we look at. And, we kind of came out flat the last couple games, and, I mean, like I said, it was kind of a humbling experience, which is good for our kids, be able to kind of learn from our mistakes and be able to kind of push back and get ourselves back on the right track starting here on Friday.
Well, and it's kind of a three-part question, but maybe being able to lump it all together here. Huron, Brandon Valley, and Sioux Falls West. What do you kind of expect? Because you've already faced all three teams once. What do you expect might be different about any or all three of those teams going into the weekend?
Yeah, the design of all three teams is a little bit different, but the thing that I kind of preached most in the last couple of weeks is not to worry so much about what the other team is capable of doing, but what are we capable of doing, and doing it at the best ability that we can do. And, unfortunately, we didn't do exactly what we probably could focus on and be at our best, and we get a couple of losses. But this is where it's a great opportunity to kind of bounce back. We're not playing the top of the line competition right at the beginning of the weekend, but we also can't overlook them. And this is the opportunity that we can take those extra risks and work just a little bit harder to get in the right positions. A big example that we've talked about with the Brookings game is just the angling to taking away the puck from a puck carrier, and how we basically manage to stay behind a guy or try to hit him from the side instead of just taking the extra step to get out in front of him. And when you play that Huron and Brandon Valley team, you should have more opportunities to be able to work on that and take that extra step and that upper edge to get in front of them, and that builds confidence. And that's the end of the day. That's what we need more of, is confidence, and that's where you're starting to see us lack on our shots on net and our ability to be able to take the puck down to the offensive zone as much. Is just that we're playing a little bit more timid, or as we've kind of described it lately, playing the chase game instead of playing the upper edge of the game. And so if we can capitalize on that and do a really good job in those first few days, I see a completely different outcome from the first time we played Sioux Falls West to what could happen on Sunday.
Again, talk with Coach Landon Badger as the Hawaii Capitals take on Huron on Friday, Brandon Valley Saturday, and Sioux Falls West on Sunday. It's an 8 o'clock Friday start, 6:15 Saturday, 3:45 Sunday. All three of those games will be on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. You get this 3-game weekend, you get an off weekend, then it's kind of maybe 1 to 2 games per weekend the rest of the way. This will be the lone 3-game weekend that you have in the month of January and then through the month of February until the state tournament. But again, going back to that state tournament, obviously you still got 10 games left to go, but sitting at 7-5 right now, 6th place in points. Yet teams are kind of all over the place and different. Watertown's got 3 less games than you. Sioux Falls West has 2 less games. Rushmore's got 1 more game than you guys. Huron's got 3 more games than what you guys have. But this is an opportunity, this weekend, especially for the Capitals, not to just you won't clinch a spot into the state tournament without, having to win a couple more games, but it really helps solidify being back in that state tournament and being able to try and climb the standings in what has been a very competitive league, from 1 through 5 especially, but then, even where 6 and 7 or 8 are at, a very competitive league trying to make this state tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's still that bitter taste in the back of your mouth that you're thinking of from last year of not being able to make that state tournament, and that's something that we're making sure does not ever happen again. And the boys are doing a really good job of just capitalizing on the games we need to for sure take, and we still have to work on those more battle games against those top 5 seeds, and if we can go ahead and get a good momentum going this weekend, like I said, Sioux Falls West, that's one of those top 5 teams. We play a good hockey game. Anything's possible after that, because once you start to have that confidence and mindset of knowing, wait, we can compete with these guys, anything can happen from then on out.
So, all right, we'll start to wrap up here as we're starting to run out of time. Final question, overall, let's group them all together. Obviously, you want to come away with 6 points and have a possible 6 points, but the biggest key here for the Capitals to make sure that wins are picked up and at least half the points are picked up. If 2 to 3 wins on the weekend, how do you make sure that happens? What's the biggest key to make that happen?
Well, number one, if we can stay out of the box, that helps everything. We're a really good 5-on-5 hockey team, and we want to be able to play as much 5-on-5 hockey. And so we've got to be disciplined there. And on the other side of things, I mean, you can look at it over the last couple of games. It's just the shots on net. If we can start to force more pucks, get more opportunities in front of the net, and sustain the pressure in the offensive zone, you start to wear on a hockey team really quick, and we saw that happen on the wrong side of it. It wears on you really quick. So if we can do that and we can do it well and have confidence with the puck, a lot of good things are going to happen, and we're going to have a really fun, successful weekend then.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time as always. Good talking to you. We're looking forward to a busy weekend and a long weekend at the Expo Center, but will be a fun weekend at the Expo Center with those 3 games, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
That is head coach Landon Badger of the Hawaii Capitals. Will return with more of a Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com. KCCR.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
Score big on your next vehicle purchase with Lamb Motor Company in Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre. Check out their large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs at any one of their locations, or go online to lambmotor.com. That's LAMBMOTOR.com. Or give them a call today at 800-952-2222. Lamb Motor Company of Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre.
Did you know it is important for your child to see the dentist at the time their first tooth erupt? A healthy smile begins at birth, and there are many variables, from healthy eating habits to good oral hygiene and routine dental care. Hi, I am Dr. Michelle Hofer. At Missouri River Dentistry, we enjoy working with people of all ages. Dentistry is our profession, but people are our focus. I invite families to come experience an office that uses the latest techniques and equipment to be sure you receive that healthy and happy smile. To schedule your appointments for your family, call us at 223-2021. Kids love us, parents trust us.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to. I'm going to answer with the same answer, so y'all can shoot if y'all please.
This is Coach's Corner on your home for the Peer Governors, KCCR, and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Join me as Coach Ben Caven of the Appear Girls Wrestling Team as they will be at home this Friday for their invitational tournament coming up, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment. But, Coach, let's first go back to last week, and you a couple of matches. The first, the triangular against Watertown and T. Obviously, there some open weights for here and there for both those teams and for you guys as well. Biggest takeaway, though, from getting the wins against T and Watertown on Thursday at home?
Yeah, like you said, the teams are sort of down a little bit, but the girls that did wrestle went out and they were having fun. They scored some points, and they tried to put as much points on the board as they could. We would like to get a few more in there, obviously, but it's just sort of the way it works with girls wrestling, unfortunately.
You know, and some of those matches, obviously the boys were their home opener, but you guys wrestling as well for the second time at home. Some big matches that went your way too, and a couple where it felt like maybe I think Abby Lewis was trailing and then came back and got a pin. A couple matches where things were able to be flipped and in the way of the Peer Governors in a pretty quick way that. I mean, I would think that as a coach, you'd like to see when things aren't going well, they still find a way to get wins in matches.
Absolutely. You know, Watertown, I think of their 7 girls, 6 of them are ranked. So all the girls that they were wrestling were high-end girls. So it's always nice to see that even though things aren't going your way, you still try to find ways to win or get the win, score points. But, yeah, there were some big matches in that duel. It was fun. The girls just battled, and whatever happened, but yeah, it was good.
And how important is it to get those wrestling, maybe as a coaching staff being able to be, because obviously tournaments are so, you go from one thing to the next and you're going from one mat to the next, and it's hard. And as coaches, you do a very good job of watching all the matches and really taking in each match. But when you get a duel, you get a chance to sit in one spot or at least have a seat assigned to you where you can watch all these matches take place. So how important is it for the girls, but also for the coaching staff to watch these high quality matches against girls that are ranked and to be able to really sit and watch them and not worry about what mat you have to go to next, where else somebody else is wrestling? How nice is that?
Yes, I mean, it gives us a good idea to see where we're at, especially with some better competition. It gives us goals and ways to make adjustments the following week. Mondays are always adjustment days, so we come in and we work on things that we saw in those duels, maybe situations that we need to improve on or even get better, even in better positions. So, no, it's always good to be able to see everybody. That way the coaches are all sort of seeing the same thing as well, and it's always nice to have a big crowd for the girls. It was a good time.
Yeah, very good atmosphere on Thursday for that triangular. Then you go the very next day, you go to Harrisburg and have wrestle in a tournament. Shaylee Speck gets first place. You also have another first place in Kesri Benning, and then Abby Lewis also getting first place. And you didn't have the full amount of girls in those weight classes. You had 9 total. 8 of those 9 end up placing a third place finish overall. The biggest takeaway from that Harrisburg tournament?
Well, I mean, anytime you get to a tournament, you want to, the girls got to understand that, yeah, things might not go your way, but you still got to make the best of the situation. But whether you win or lose, you got to get the next best thing. So they all did a very good job of that. The girls, I mean, it didn't make a difference what match it was. They were battling the whole time and trying to score points, and that's sort of our philosophy right now. You're never out of a match. Just keep wrestling as hard as you can, and hopefully we get some more points than the other girl. But, yeah, I mean, the finals matches were really good, highly contested. A couple of rematches from Watertown. So it was good. It was good for all the girls to get out and see some girls that we haven't saw yet, but then obviously there's always familiar competition as well.
And you know, some of these girls, you know, you look at like Kesri Benning, who's 17-1 of the season. Then you see that someone like Layton Heasley 10-9, Aubrey Fisher 11-10. But you see some girls that have different. Evelyn Coughlin's got just 11 matches in. Important to see more matches because you get into some duels sometimes, and that weight class might be open multiple times over the course of every duel. So for these tournaments to be able to know that they're going to get quite a bit of matches, got to be good for you guys as well to see these girls get competing and continue to compete.
Yes, the more match time you can get, the better it is for the girls, and the harder the match is, the better it is for them. They gotta understand, and they're getting there, but you're not always gonna. The match ain't always gonna go the way you want it to, but you still gotta find ways to wrestle and finish the match, whether you win or lose. And right now, the girls are getting there. They're figuring it out. But sometimes you just got to find a way to win, or you just got to find a way to, an idea to just stay alive, and we'll get them next time.
Well, now you get to be at home this Friday for a tournament as well, and obviously, you get duels, you get triangulars, maybe a quad that you get to be hosting, but tournaments are pretty limited over capacity of being able to host a tournament during the season. So how nice is it to be at home competing in a tournament coming up on Friday?
Yeah, the girls are excited, coaches are excited. One of the best things about being central is you get a lot of people coming one direction, and it's the same distance. So I think there's 44 or 45 teams entered right now. So it's going to be a big, fun tournament. Again, there's going to be familiar teams there, but there's also going to be girls we haven't seen get a chance to hopefully meet up at some point in the tournament. But yeah, their goals right now is, wrestle every match as hard as they possibly can, and see where they fall at the end.
And being a one-day tournament, and also, like you said, having 40-some teams that are lined up to be at this tournament, it's really hard to scout and be ready for an opponent, or at least, try and talk to every girl. Every girl kind of has to have to be ready to go, whether they know their opponent or not, or know much about them or not. How nice is that to kind of almost, at this point of the year, maybe going in blind to a match against someone and just going out and wrestle, and not saying I'm going to look at this tendency or that tendency. I'm just going to go out and wrestle.
Yeah. Well, sort of like you said, you run off of tendencies a little bit, but we're trying to get the peer girls to wrestle their style, no matter who they're wrestling. We're not going to change the way we wrestle because the girl does this or that. We're still getting our ties and our setups and our shots, and we're wrestling through situations and doing our game plan on top and bottom. So, yeah, it's good. But again, we just get to try. We get to try our things against girls we might not have seen yet. So, again, we're trying to get these girls to wrestle their match every time that they step on the mat.
Again, talking with Coach Ben Caven of the Peer Girls Wrestling Team. They will be at home on Friday for a tournament. The Peer Invite, they'll be taking place on Friday. The East-West duels on the boys' side will be Saturday. So a busy weekend of wrestling on the mat at Riggs High School coming up Friday and Saturday. Now we're closing in, and we're just about a month away from the state tournament. How crazy of a statement did I just say to you that we're just about a month away from the state tournament?
We actually just talked about that to the girls. We're 3 weeks away from regions, I believe. I mean, it's rolling right around there, and it's going to come very, very fast. But they're excited, and that just sort of, there's lulls in a week. There's lulls in a season. But this is sort of, it keeps them peaked and ready to go. So.
And again, coming up this Friday, as we'll start to wrap things up here with Coach Ben Caven, coming up here this Friday, the Governor girls will be at home for their wrestling tournament. Coach, biggest key here for the girls to have a successful tournament, whether that be being the number one team, winning that team score, or having multiple individual champions. What's the biggest key overall for a successful day?
Again, like we talked about, the girls got to just wrestle their style. They got to put points on the board, and they got to wrestle through situations and not give up, and prove themselves that they can compete against the better girls. As far as the team, if the individuals take care of themselves, it'll take part of the team part. We pick up bonus points when we can, but just not really trying to put a lot of pressure on the girls. Just let them go out and perform, and whatever happens, but put points on the board and get bonus when we can.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time as always. Good talking to you again. Looking forward to the near stretch run of this season and getting closer to the state tournament. Good luck on Friday, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you.
That's head coach Ben Caven of the Pierre Girls Wrestling Team. Back with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. KCCR Radio.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
This fall, take some time to think about your future while the leaves make their way down to earth and the last sunset of summer leaves us with an autumn chill. It's time to grab the nearest foam finger and break out the face paint. Rush the stands with First Dakota National Bank and forget how to blink. Fall sports are back with jaw-dropping plays, an electric atmosphere, and epic scores. Make some noise with First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakotanationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through every season. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. They have fully trained ASE certified mechanics on staff, ready to handle it for you. From brakes and bearings to alignments and front ends. Let their experience work for you. Over 50 years combined means you can count on them. So if it's time for a transmission flush or even a simple oil change, the only name you need to know is Graham Tire, 421 West Sioux Avenue in Pierre.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
You like that? You like that?
As we welcome back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Michael Miller of the Pierre Gymnastics team. And Coach, it's hard to believe that we're closing in on the end of the season. You have a couple more meets left to go before not just the ESD, but the state meet that's coming up. Next week, you'll have a pretty busy week of going on Monday to Watertown and then to Aberdeen for the ESD the following Saturday. So you get this week of a chance to kind of maybe not necessarily catch a break, but opportunity to just get some practice in. How important is this week going into the last couple weeks of the season?
This week is crucial. I'm very grateful to have a full 5 days. We did practice on Monday with just the varsity when JV and middle school went to Aberdeen. But having these 5 days is super important, and we're just trying to perfect everything. Normally, a perfect anything in gymnastics is really rare, but that's what we're striving towards, and hopefully all of their hard work shows on Monday and then going into our next couple Saturday meets.
And for you guys, this has kind of been obviously in winter sports, things can change and the schedule can be different, but you went from having a lot of right at the beginning, and then you had a meet get canceled, then you didn't go again to another time, and you've had a long stretch of not being able to compete, and then you had Christmas break on top of all that stuff too. How difficult has it been? How much fun has it been to challenge these girls into having meets and to not having meets and having a lot more practice right in the middle of the season, everything that's gone in through this season?
Yeah, it was really weird, and I don't remember it being like that when I was in high school, and maybe it was or wasn't. But it's kind of been good, too, because we get really routine heavy for those heavy routine or heavy meet weeks, and then we get to kind of take a breather and just go more new skills or single skill focus in practice. And then we go back into hitting routines hard. So I think it's been a good shift in not doing the same thing every single week. And I think it's been good so far. The girls have seemed to adapted really well to that. So, yeah.
Now going in, you get to go to Watertown for a quadrangular. You get to see a couple of ESD schools along, obviously Watertown being one of them, but you get Brookings and Harrisburg on Monday coming up, and how important it is to see a couple ESD teams before then seeing them again later on the Saturday.
Those schools, Harrisburg is always one. Anytime we get to see Harrisburg, even though they are blowing everyone out of the water, which is so fun to watch, but just watching their routines and being like, we can do skills like that. We can be clean like that. We might not catch them team-wise score, but it's still a really good goal. And then Watertown is always putting up really good routines. And then Brookings has put up really high skills and high-scoring routines as well. So they are one where they're kind of right at that 140 score range, which is where we want to get to. And so always competing against them is going to be really good.
What's a challenge of being on a Monday and compared to maybe being in the middle of the week or even a Tuesday or a Thursday? What's the challenge of competing on Monday?
Not having practice Saturday or Sunday. And it was actually something some of the girls talked about yesterday, like, can we maybe come in on a Sunday and just get loose, stretch, go through any last-minute routine? So it's something we actually did talk about just yesterday. But, yeah, having those 2 days off of just your rest weekend that you normally would get and then coming back and going hard on Monday is going to be interesting how we adapt to that.
And you get those two meets in the same week, the ESD being that last one the following Saturday, and then you have one more meet back in Watertown, and then it's the state meet. Mm-hmm. It is hard to believe that we're in the final 3 meets, and then the state competition. How fast has this season gone for you, being the first-year head coach?
It has gone so fast. I know as soon as Christmas break hit, our assistant coach, Carrie Westover, she was kind of talking to the girls about this is all we have left. And you'd think I would have been aware of it as head coach, but I was like, oh my gosh, we are almost done. And it was kind of a big shock to the girls too, realizing that that's all they really had left as well. But they've handled it very maturely, so they did awesome.
Let's talk a little bit about the girls and individually. What really has stood out to you from maybe some specific girls that really has stood out and exceeding maybe some expectations early on in the season.
Oh gosh, all of them have definitely put in as much effort and trying to gain those new skills as possible, and that goes for the entire team. Seniors all the way down to my middle school gymnast. A couple stand out to have really shown a strong work ethic and that they want to get those top scores. Jalen Muldoon is one that comes to mind. She, with her being a freshman and doing some of my top higher skills, can be really hard as a freshman. But she's battled going through scary skills, mental blocks. We just got over a really big mental block with her giants on bars. So she's one who has consistently shown that she wants these top scores and she's going to do whatever it takes to keep those. Maddie Merrill is one as well who, with her, I believe she said she was on varsity as a 7th grader. Not being complacent with her routines that kind of got her on varsity to start off with. She has learned, a number of new skills and just incorporated those into her routines as well. McLean Shepik as well, learning some new skills on bars. She's going through a knee injury right now, so we kind of had to take her off of vault and floor, but she's stepped up on beam and on bars where we need her, and I hope she comes back to vault because she can put up a really nice vault score, so we're hoping that's in there for Watertown. And then my senior, Becky, being a senior, not necessarily having the highest scoring routines, but still coming into practice every day and willing to try some of those higher skills, build up her routines as much as possible. She is one who has been a great team leader to have.
Well, and for the senior being able to be close to the end of the career, gymnastics career for a peer governor, the excitement to watch her be able to again, continue to succeed over the next couple of weeks, but seeing that, the career is closing in, but knowing, how much she's been working for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely going to be sad. I coached Becky when I was still in high school, and she was one of Rebecca Feller's little club gymnasts. So it's been really fun to see her go through club when she was little and learn all of these basic skills, and then watch her as I was going through college and getting to judge her as well when I was a judge for a couple years. And then, watching it full circle moment almost. Kind of crazy.
Again, talking with Coach Miller of the Pierre Gymnastics team as they will take on Watertown in a quadrangular on Monday. Next week, Saturday, will be their ESD in Aberdeen. And, looking at the ESD, and obviously that's a high mark of the season, trying to place really high individually and as a team. What do you expect from that ESD next week?
I would love to see another meet where we all stay on the beam. We had that one meet in Brookings where I think all but one, or my top 4 scores stayed on, and our floor scores improved. And then the next meet against Hot Springs, we improved our vault and our full vault and bar scores. So kind of combining like the beam and the floor and the vault and the bars, and having that be stellar events in one meet is something I'm really looking forward to see if we can pull off. And again, just chasing Brookings, chasing Watertown, see if we can get closer to those team scores and be able to really compete when we go into qualifier and state meet, hopefully.
We'll wrap things up here, and obviously you mentioned the ESD. Let's go back to the Watertown quad. Biggest key for the best success for the Governors, and individually and as a team, for that Monday meet.
Individually throwing those higher skills that we have been working towards, and trying to stick our skills, eliminate those little tenths here and there with just extra steps, is a really big individual focus. And then as a team, staying on the beam. That's where our goal is for this week. So if we can do that, floor has been really consistent, bars is really consistent, vault as well has really improved. So beam is going to be not a make or break, because I think we'll do great, but kind of the determinant to see, can we hold up and compete against Brookings and Watertown, or will we just still be a couple points short?
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time as always. It's good talking to you again. We've got another one coming up here before we get to the state meet, but good luck here this coming week, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
That is Coach Micah Miller of the Pierre Gymnastics team, back with more Coaches Corner on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Avoid high-pressure sales tactics. Check for ID, such as a revenue license and proof of insurance. Ask for references and compare prices with local businesses. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Talk to you. You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
Yeah! And we welcome you back here inside the KCCR studios as we wrap up another edition of Coach's Corner. As we want to thank our coaches, Landon Badger, the head coach of the Owyhee Capitals, Ben Caven, the head coach of the Pierre Girls Wrestling Team, and Micah Miller, the head coach of the Pierre Gymnastics Team, as all three will be in action coming up here this weekend and into next week as the Capitals have 3 home games, 5 games in total at the Expo Center, all on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports between the girls and the boys varsity, with 3 for the boys varsity. The Pierre wrestling team will be at home on Friday for their tournament, and then gymnastics will get rolling once again and coming up on Monday, and it's going to be a fun finish to the season. And we want to thank our coaches for the opportunity to talk to them here today as we move in and closing in on the end of January. One more show in January before we get in the final month of Coach's Corner in the month of February. That's coming up next week, Wednesday, right here, same time, same place, 5:30 to 6:30 here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. And again, if you miss any of today's show, head over to YouTube on a KCCR Sports, and you can rewatch and re-listen to the episode and the show at any point that you want to go back and listen to. Thanks again for joining us on another Wednesday on Coach's Corner, and we've got another one coming up next week, Wednesday, here on KCCR.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR, presented by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection. Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com is also brought to you by Bank West, Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Todd's Electric, Owyhee Federal Credit Union, Shane's Pharmacy, Missouri River Dentistry, CHS River Plains, Edward Jones Financial, Thording Electric, First Dakota National Bank, Gales Gas, and Lamb Motors. Join us each Wednesday at 5:30 on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com for more Coach's Corner. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports leader.